Hi everyone, today I want to talk a little bit about anti-natalism and pro-mortalism, and I'm going to start with a Arthur Schopenhauer quote. It goes, "The development of intelligence will weaken or frustrate the will to reproduce, and will thereby at last achieve the extinction of the race. When shall we have the courage to fling defiance into the face of the will, to tell it that the loveliness of life is a lie, and that the greatest boon of all is death?" Pro-mortalism in this talk is going to be referred to as the conviction that if all sentients were to just essentially die in their sleep tonight, that would be a good thing. Or if you had a big red button to remove all sentience from existence, you would be morally obligated to press that button. I want to stress that the adherents of this view do not condone the removal of individual lives, both because it would be violating that person's desire to continue and because of the suffering it would inevitably cause those who are left to grieve. It can only be effective if done universally.
Most people who are in a coma are, self-aware. It's like sort of like a dream state. Who in the hell would want to live like that?
Yeah, and what a perfect example to give someone a graceful death with dignity. Like you can have the conversations, with these pro-lifers about someone that's healthy and mobile like us or whatever that can function somewhat. But people like that, I mean, come on, it should be pretty clear that there should be some sort of policy set in place to give. But see, here's the problem: is it's the concept of murder and the concept of killing, and people are very adverse to the idea that you're killing someone without their consent. I mean, it's the same crime as natalism in a weird way in their argument. But I think this scenario is a whole different ballgame than, procreation.
It's either we violate consent once for everybody, or we let things continue on as they're going. Promortalism sounds preferable to that. In Mendham's channel, he is very articulate. And he has quite a way of describing exactly what life is. I'm sure we could figure out how to poison the planet enough to make it so uninhabitable to anything complex. Anyone that says it's impossible for us to eliminate all life on Earth just lacks imagination.
I'm real similarly aligned to Mendham, and it seems like you are too. Was Mendham a huge influence for you in terms of your anti-natalist thinking?
Yeah, 100%.
Negative utilitarianism leads to the point of view of this channel, and in Mendham and Efilism, a negative utilitarian would not necessarily be against lying or appealing to emotion. We need to pull the plug as gracefully and as soon as possible.
Do any of you support the death penalty? I'm not in favour of it. What about you, El?
It's a difficult one. In terms of suffering, it's possibly worse to spend a lifetime in prison. Isn't that potentially more of a punishment than actually ending somebody's life? That's an interesting question, don't you think?
I thought about that as well, and I do kind of agree.
I used to think that the death penalty was bad because for all the reasons that we've already said, that sort of false imprisonment and that kind of thing. However, it sounds so stressful and horrendous. Death would actually be a release from that suffering.
I can't imagine being in prison, how horrible it would be, but I suppose metaphorically we're all in prison.
Will we try to free them in the end? Will we try to free ourselves? Will it have to be violent? Will we try to find another way? Or will our lack of responsibility be another form of violence altogether? What will happen? What will we do? What should we do? And at the very least, I think those are all questions we need to be asking. All sentience is a prison.